what's going on? Oh, it's the aftermath. Tyson Fury resumes his career. Seems like Undisputed is back on. Thanks for tuning in. So, basically he's resuming, he's told the WBC he's going to go ahead with his career. Mauricio Solomon gave him, a couple of weeks extension because of the loss of a family member. And he's given them the early call, he's given them the early call, and I believe that's because Usyk has said, he wants to fight in December. In my opinion, I see Fury fighting Usyk and then Joshua next, if he beats Usyk, And it's basically on the fence line here, it's basically on the fence line in terms of who's going to win. Some people are saying he's going to win, others are saying no. And from who I talk to and what I've heard, it's basically, 50-50. Some people are saying Usyk, some people are saying Fury. Now, I think that it's really going to be a good fight, or I should say a good boxing match. Obviously, Fury will try to turn it into a fight. We saw this with the Wilder fight, he went for it, and he's saying the same thing this time. He's saying, I'm going to put Usyk away in 4 rounds. But the thing is, we don't know if that's going to work. What I can say is that the way to beat Usyk is to follow him, and I've said this before with the Joshua fight. He almost had him in that round 9. He almost did have him. He was definitely hurting him. You saw signs of Usyk getting hurt there in round 9. You saw him go to his corner, you saw him praying in his corner. So he was definitely hurt, and that was because he never had any space, to regather himself. And that's how you wear a guy down, is when they don't have their rhythm. You try to box them, or you try to fight them, where they don't really have their rhythm or their foot placement that they want to be in. They're caught off guard, and that's when they get hurt, is when they don't expect the shots. And Fury is very capable of that, of making people uncomfortable, because let's face it, he is the most talented in the division. Now, I would say that Usyk's the most skilled, and I think that Usyk can beat him by skill. But the only question is, can Usyk get away from Fury? Think about this. Fury's going to be, going for it, and could possibly still be going for it till the end of the fight. I don't see this fight ending in a knockout. If it does, it will go to Fury as well. He will have more power in this fight. Usyk really doesn't have knockout power. And Fury showed that he does, that he can knock a guy down by wearing them down and then going for the KO. So, the only thing is that Usyk is hard to wear down. He does have a lot in the tank. Although people can say, well, he was gassed out in the 9th round. He took a lot of punishment from Joshua. This is a heavy-handed fighter, punching him to the stomach. I don't think that he's going to look the same against Fury unless he hurts him. So, if he can stay away from Fury, we may see Usyk go for it at the same pace throughout the whole fight. Now, he does drop in pace in some rounds. When I say the drop in pace, he saves his punches. Some rounds he'll throw a lot of volume, some rounds he'll throw less. Obviously, he's still going to have the same leg movement and things like that. He's very strong in the base. So, Usyk really needs to outland Fury here to beat him. He's not going to beat him with power. He's not going to beat him, obviously, with size. He's not going to be the guy that's going to be pushing Fury back. It's going to be one of those fights. Either Fury's going to run him down, or Usyk's going to be fast enough and catch him a couple of times coming forward. Remember, Fury's new to coming forward as well. So, Usyk's actually got a good chance of winning here. If Fury had a couple of more fights in the Kronk style, I would say, well, Fury's experienced now. But, Fury's not really experienced that much going forward. He looked very vulnerable in the 3rd trilogy fight against Wilder, And Wilder doesn't have that same skill set as Usyk, you know what I mean? So there's a very strong chance that both guys could win. I think the big game changer here will be Sugar Hill. You know, Sugar Hill needs to be in Fury's corner, because the thing with Fury is that he can change up a fight after a round. You know, we saw this in the trilogy. The 4th round gets put down twice. The next round he backs off. You know, the 12th round we saw him get put down. Then he comes forward, so he can adapt during the round or after a round. Is what I'm trying to say. He can adapt in the fight whenever he wants. He can also go to southpaw if Usyk is hurting him with the jab. So I mean, there's multiple things that Fury can do. There's also multiple things that Usyk can do. You know, he's a guy that can definitely trouble you with his skill. You know, he throws them in 2s and 3s. You know, he'll throw a couple of left-hand leads, you know, 3 to 4 times in a row, which can really, you know, put a guy off guard and really, you know, capitalize and land on him, which we saw against Joshua. The trick for Fury here is to shut down Usyk's jab. With Usyk, he's going to have to establish the jab and control distance. The only way you can control the fight is to establish the jab. So the sooner he does that, you know, the sooner he's going to have control and be confident to jump in and out of the pocket. It's a great fight. I'll talk more about the fight, you know, when it gets announced. But like I said, it can go either way. It's looking good for boxing. You know, it's a good thing that it's going to be made. I believe it will be made. Like I said, you know, Fury will most likely challenge Joshua next, even though he lost. Joshua is the cash cow. You know, it'll be silly to turn that down. Why Deontay Wilder didn't take the Joshua fight, I'm not sure. We could see Wilder and Joshua if he beats Elanius, but he's saying that he wants the winner of Ruiz versus Ortiz. So, I mean, there's a big possibility that Fury could challenge Joshua after Usyk if he beats him, and it is a big if. Please leave your take on it. You know, leave your take. Let me know what you think of it. Who do you see winning? You know, I can see it going both ways. I will definitely talk about it more in the near future when it gets announced. You know, you'll be hearing from me. Most likely I'll be doing a live stream, you know, so I mean, stay tuned. You know, hit the bell if you're new. Hit the red button if you're new. But Fury resumes his career. Undisputed could be back on. This is great news. It's the aftermath. Leave your take on it, man. Thanks for tuning in once again. Peace. Have a good one. God bless. Look forward to the comments, man. Peace. Have a good one. Take care.